Hello, this is Becca, often going by Nightcat or Nightcat's Meow when I'm online, and welcome back for another programming tutorial video on Linden scripting language. Now, I told you last week that we were going to focus today on how to make the doors actually swing open, so hopefully you still have your doors from last week. We're going to be reusing them as part of it. Mine are right here. Now, as you recall, in addition to the little lamp we did, which we don't need here, we have these doors which you can click open or walk up to, and they'll open automatically. Actually going to lower that just a little. There we go. However, as I said last time, most doors, you have them swing open. These currently don't. We're going to fix that. The first thing that you'll want to do is adjust them so that they fit properly in the door frame. So you just play around with these just a little bit. It wasn't so important when they slid because they just kind of go into the surroundings. But now, if you want it to look right, you're going to want it to line up right. Now, right now they will still work the same way they did, but we're going to be changing that. Now, as you recall, we had this set up to work by the prim size when receiving a link message or a click, which will also send a link message to the other door. Well, the first thing, if you're going to move things around, rotate them in this case, is you want to get the information on how they're positioned right now. To get that information, we're going to make another script. We don't need the touch start. Now, you remember before we've talked about typing or casting, putting parentheses, string, and parentheses means treat whatever comes after this as a string. We're going to go llGetPos. This is short for get position. And then we're going to make another one by copy and paste. Get rotation, or llGetRot. Now, since we had, as we established last week, these doors cut in such a way that their center axis was right up against the line there, technically we could get by with llGetRotation, but I want to teach you how to apply this to a bunch of different things, not just to these doors. I use the different projects we do as a way of introducing the concept. I don't want to limit you to just what we're making. I want to give you the tools to make whatever you want. So we're going to pop this open. Don't mind that little bit of text that's already in there. Save. All right, now we got first a position, then a rotation. In the case of rotation, Second Life use quadrands, which gets into really math that makes my head hurt. I won't even try to talk about that here. Now that we have that information, we can go back into here, edit the linked, door control. Now instead of set prim size, we can actually get rid of that. We're going to go set rotation. Go back up here. You can just copy and paste your rotation. Close and semicolon. Set position. Very similar commands there. Again, you can just copy and paste. It's the simplest way to do this. And you see, as usual, I did a little bit of a derp thing. I put that in the open section. So we're going to pop that down there to the close. We're not going to save this yet since we're not done. Although we could. It wouldn't make a difference. Angle that open. That works because we're turning it around the center axis, which as you recall is right about there. We're going to go back to this one. We just want to run that again. See? I'm even going to show you a nice little trick. I use this on a particularly complicated kit that I use for some big builds, but I'm going to show it to you here just so you get a look at what can be done. We'll start putting out a regular bit of text. Say llSetPos, parentheses. You end that. That completes one chunk of text because of the quotation marks. Then a plus, it means you're doing this string plus this next string, which is getPosition, plus another string that we're defining. Close that. Semicolon. Close that. It really isn't all that useful except to show off in a little script like this, but again, I use it in a rather large system for helping me code changes to a large number of factors in a large number of pieces. I would not take on some of the projects I do without this kind of trick. Save. Successful. Now you see that? That is actually your line of code. We're going to do it one better. Now I admit, I tend to get this part wrong, so we may be showing this to you twice. I can never remember if it's /n or \n that does this. Save it again. It's \. What this is sort of a shorthand for a line break. Another one of those things that's not really essential, but it is really useful. You see, breaks the line there. So scroll up. And open. And now, because of the line breaks, it's very easy to select that and remove it. Save. Copy that. We don't need that anymore. Go to this one. New. Paste. Save. Now we have the closed position data. Copy it. Paste it. If you're going to be doing a lot of this for your build, it is very convenient to just literally let one piece of code write another piece of code. I cannot tell you how many hours of work in certain projects that has saved me. Again, it doesn't make much difference here, but this series is all about using small projects to teach you the skills and tools that you can use to tackle big projects. Soon I'll actually be putting the kit I'm talking about up on the marketplace. There'll be its own video how to use it. But that is a fundamental part of it. See? Now the doors swing open. Now I also talked to you before, in the week before, in video 3, when we were talking about lag and its possibilities. It's always better to have one master script than a bunch of lesser scripts. So we're going to teach you a little something about that. I also want to point out, if you use the get position, get rotation, a thing to keep in mind, sort of a pro tip, is there we have the yellow outline for the root prim. These are not root prims. These are secondary prims. If you use the get rotation and get position on something that is not the root prim, it gets that data relative to the root prim. So if I move this door over here, it still works just fine. However, you can use that command a little bit differently. I'm just going to cover this briefly and then go back to the main topic. We're just going to get a get position here real quick. Since it's a vector, you have to tell it to treat it as a string. Get position. Alright, so we just put set position and pasted that in there. I'm going to teach you two more things about set position. First, we're going to move this prim up here and then click it. It puts itself right back because this time this is only one prim, therefore it is root. Position is absolute in the world. Root prim, it moves an entire object. I can build an entire object around that. It will move the whole thing. Here, though, they're not root prims. Therefore, they move in relation to the root prim. The other thing to learn is that this has a limit to how far it can travel. Yank that all the way up here. Your first look is the fact that, yes, my loft is positioned in the middle of the sky. So I click it. It only goes so far. I click it again. It continues to try, lost it there, to go home. But it still couldn't go all the way. I have to click it a third time to go back to that position. It has a maximum distance it can travel in one jump. So if you're trying to make something move across a wide area, and it just stops partway there, that's probably why. A good thing to know if you're trying to use set position for anything big. So we can delete that. We've now covered that. So the question you probably have is, if I'm talking about how to control things with one central script, how do we do that with position and rotation? Pop down into here. Minimize that. Never mind that noise. State entry. I'm actually going to teach you one other type of say. This is actually really useful if you need feedback or communication from an object. Owner say. Previously, we've taught you about using say to send a command on different channels or send it openly on channel 0. This time, we're going to teach you the easy way to make it go only to you. And since it's going straight to you, it doesn't need a channel. It's just going to go straight to you. String. Yes, I'm committing more typos than usual. I'm a little tired here. So, get link number. You might recall we used that once in a previous week. That is 2. Take that out. Should have actually saved that. That was my mistake. and 3. And they show up in yellow. That's the only difference you'll see. But nobody else will hear that, no matter what, because that was said with owner say. So I was the only one to get that. So we're going to comment out the link message. The problem with the position and rotation is they're not as simple as some other set link commands. The best way to do that is to actually go and use set link primitive parameters, which is a complex command. We covered that last week a little bit, so you should be able to remember how to look that up, but there will be a link in the description as usual. And just for my convenience, I'm copy and pasting off of the wiki for part of this. But I have to add the link. To what did I do there? I accidentally set my insert, which caused it to overwrite everything. Warned you I'm a little tired. And you'd scroll down the wiki, it has set prim position and set prim position local. So look for prim position local. That is the one that's going to vary based on the root prim as opposed to absolute position. And we're going to go back into here. Now, I'd given you the demonstration before using the position and the rotation, just so you would understand how to use it. But we don't actually have to have it for this, so just to move on the demonstration, we're just going to worry about the rotation right now. Actually, I don't even need to copy that. That's a simple enough set there. Remember, only need one set of the blocky brackets. Typo again. Need a comma. So that's 0, 0, 0, 1. Get the other script open here. You know what? Let's just go ahead and do it. Get the position. Be consistent here. Not strictly needed here, but good for consistency, good for practice. And if you're doing anything, anytime if you are doing this and you do not have it cut on the center, you're going to have to do this anyway, so you might as well. Foster good habits. And small goof, but I put the closed data where it would be open. Congratulations to anybody that caught that. Position data, rotation data, Control C and Control V. Most useful key combination in the world. All right. Control C, Control V. The rotation is the same between the two closed doors. Correction, the rotation is almost the same between the two closed doors. There we go. That's now set correctly. Run that script again. You'll get the new position and rotation data. Rotation. Position. And there we go. Now, though, when you have the doors that swing open, you do not normally walk into them to do it. So, we'll change this back to touch, start. Don't mind my typo. And the last thing I'll teach you right now, actually, the last completely new idea, is if you go through and set those to not running, you can work with this irregardless. Give that a moment since we had it on the timer, and there you go. So again, to make this function in a more realistic way, you'll want to implement your toggle switch. Open equals false, and of course that is an integer over the place. And you'll want to set these for open and close up here. Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V. Want to make sure you keep the thing to turn off the timer, because if you close it manually, you don't need to wait for it, the timer to trigger to close it, so you need that. If you're triggering open, open is equaling true. If you're triggering a close, open equals false. if open, open. If you're only using the one command, and since we moved up the others up here, including the setting that to open, you don't need the brackets. It's good practice to use them though. It will compile without them in that specific instance, but there's so many more instances where it will not that it's good practice to use them anyway. You want to develop good habits because it makes it easier to keep things consistent, keep things readable, and not have to go back and change as many things. I have learned a lot of that the hard way. So that should take care of all of that. Let us test it. Always, always test. Oh, we have an error. Name previously declared within scope. It's easy enough to just capitalize the variable. And save. And what did I do wrong? If open, open. Yep. As usual, I mistakenly triggered if this door is open, open this door. That doesn't make any sense. Nor does it make sense in programming. Okay, trigger control works. And timer still works. So there you have it. More with link control. New commands to use with your set primitive parameters. And, as promised, a more realistic way to open your door. This has been another How to Code video with me, Becca, also known as Nightcat or Nightcat's Meow. I hope to see you back next week. I notice a few of you have been coming back regularly. Good to have you. Hope to hear from you in the comments. If you have any concerns, questions, things I'm not explaining well, or things you particularly would like to see me expand on, feel free to go ahead and ask. If you think you have questions about coding that don't really fit in the regular tutorial cycle, go ahead and ask anyway. I might actually, if I get enough requests like that, start up another series, sort of a Coder's Corner, talking about different aspects of programming that don't fit in there, sort of like visiting with an instructor after class, just kind of talking shop. So, anyway, I hope to see you again next week. As usual, I'll be posting these up on Tuesday at noon Eastern Standard Time. Until then, take care and happy programming.